Every 9 seconds, a woman is victimized by domestic violence. Recent news stories involving the partners of actress Hayden Panettiere and murdered therapist Amy Harwick have highlighted the ongoing issue.
February is Teen Domestic Violence Prevention Month, and here with tips to help young people develop healthy relationships is Maricela Rios-Faust, CEO of Human Options. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here.
So we heard with some of this news this week and the death of Amy Harwick and a lot of attention that we've been seeing on this. How prevalent is it? Is it something that we are seeing more of?
It's actually very prevalent. It's 1 in 4 women are abused by their significant other, and 1 in 7 men. It's a very prevalent issue that needs to be talked about more frequently.
Are teens at higher risk?
Teens are definitely at higher risk. They're at an age where they're vulnerable. They're seeking some sort of appraise and their validation, and so definitely we see it more frequently. It's 1 in 3 teens are victims of domestic violence or relationship violence.
Has it always been like that, or is there a trend towards that?
I think it's probably always been that way. I think we're hearing more about it. Definitely the Me Too movement and different things have brought it to light a little bit more often. What we're seeing though with teens is there's so much social media, right? There's social media, and so you're seeing this demand for information and teens really trying to play out relationships. What we're finding now more and more though is that with teens, because they're more educated, we're able to have some conversations early, right. And I think that is helpful.
What about for same-sex couples?
Starting to see same-sex couples also have issues with relationship violence as well. You start to see a trend where it's not a healthy relationship. There's an abusive partner, maybe, but the stigma of coming out, the stigma of being in relationships sometimes keeps them from reporting.
And it's not always the female in a relationship that is the victim. Sometimes the female is the aggressor and it's the male in the relationship, and that's also a difficult stigma to overcome, but that happens.
Right.
You said 1 in 7?
1 in 7 men and 1 in 4 women. Yeah. It could be either one. But what we try and focus on is really the conversation around healthy relationships and what it means to be in a healthy relationship. What we find quite often is that there's a continuum, right? There's a behavior that begins that starts to kind of go down a slippery slope when you start to see some maybe name calling or controlling behavior, or you start to see things where it's perhaps somebody's calling very frequently. You know, when you're in a relationship, it's actually sometimes you feel good when somebody's calling you all the time, and so then you don't really notice it. It starts to slip into this area of like, gosh, he wants to know or she wants to know where I'm at all the time.
Yeah, like that jealousy and being really overprotective, right?
Right. Yeah, it plays on like, well, I'm just worried about you.
Right.
I just want to know where you're at. You know, I miss you. And those are the things that come up so subtly in relationships.
Are those warning signs? Are those flags, you'd say?
Definitely, I think, yes. I think definitely monitoring how aggressive it starts to become and how quickly, right? When you start to see young teens and young girls and young boys, right? They're in relationships. They don't know how to navigate those relationships yet. You get a little bit of like, oh my gosh, he calls me all the time. Look, he's texting me all the time. And then and then it turns into 2 to 3 times a day, 17 times a day. It gradually gets more and more aggressive. And so really monitoring that, monitoring how often they're on the phone with their boyfriend and girlfriend, those types of things are important.
Can you talk a little bit about this campaign? It's called Love Shouldn't Hurt. I think that's so important because, again, you're saying, oh, he loves me, that's why he's doing it. Love shouldn't hurt. Yeah.
We have a campaign in Orange County with Human Options, and it's really focused on the idea of relationships and what a healthy relationship is. What we found is the more we talked about teen dating violence, there were so many people that could tune you out and say, oh gosh, like that's not me. I'm in a healthy relationship. So what we started to talk about is this continuum and really educating that when somebody wants to keep you isolated from your friends, or they are saying, well, your dad's not a good person because he doesn't like me, or your mom, she's always mean, she gives me these dirty looks when she sees me. Those are all things that really start to hurt you in a relationship. So we try and educate on love is actually respect. Love is something where somebody cares about you and they show you that they care about you. They want you to be connected. They want to hear your opinion. And so really making sure that we're putting that lens on not only what not to look for, but what you should be hoping for and striving for in a relationship.
When you say that so many people know someone who's involved in a relationship that may be toxic, so to say, but I think we're always just taught to say, you know what, that's their business, leave them alone. What do you say to someone out there who's like, man, I want to help, I just don't know how to help?
I think it's really making sure that if you want to help, that you are helping and that you're doing that in a loving way, right? That you're really saying, you know, I care about you. I'm starting to see these differences, or, you know, you don't deserve to be treated this way. Quite often when we don't know what to do, we respond with like, you need to be out of this relationship. He's not good for you, or she's not good for you.
And they get defensive.
And they get defensive, right? And it's a defensiveness because what we're doing is we're putting the responsibility on the person who's already being hurt instead of the responsibility on somebody else. And so really saying, I care about you. I've noticed your behavior is changing. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm here. I love you. This is not how somebody should be treated. I think that's a different perspective than, gosh, he's horrible for you, and how did you make such a bad choice, or why are you here? Those types of things that definitely turn somebody off from talking about the abuse.
Wow, such good information.
Yeah,
Thank
serious
you for being
topic.
here.
Thanks for enlightening us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
So for more resources from Human Options, you can visit humanoptions.org. If you're experiencing domestic violence, you can actually call their hotline. The number is right there on your screen, 877-854-3594.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.